I just knew that I had miscarried, but it had been missed. And so he couldn't tell me anything, obviously, because they can't tell you anything, but I just knew. And I was trying so hard to keep it together. My son was 3 and I just remember he was like, Mom, like, why are you so sad? Why are you in the bathroom all the time? And like, it was just heartbreaking because I felt like such a failure. Like I had let him down. I knew he wanted a sibling. I had let my partner down. I let myself down. I let the baby down. I still don't know what happened at like when I had lost this baby. I had no idea or why. I had no answers.
Welcome to The Rainbow Connection. This podcast was designed for mothers who are finding their way through life after loss. Whether you're grieving, trying to conceive again, newly pregnant, or holding hope in your heart for what's to come, this space is for you. Each week, you'll hear real and tender stories of love, heartbreak, healing, and the babies who continue to shape us. I'm your host, Kristen Mundy, a mother, doula, and a woman who's walked this path too. May these conversations remind you that you are not alone, that your baby is never forgotten, and that hope and grief can live here together. Before we begin today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk to you, just you. If you are a lost mom in any season of this journey, I want you to know that I created something with you in mind. Whether you are newly grieving, trying to conceive again, not sure of what comes next, pregnant after loss, or parenting a living child while still carrying the babies who aren't here, you are welcome. I have a free community called the Doula Life Community, and it's a space where lost moms can gather without having to explain themselves. A place where you don't have to shrink your grief, you don't have to tone down your hope, and you definitely don't have to pretend like you're okay. Inside, you'll find other women who understand this journey. There are message boards, free workshops, shared stories, and gentle resources. But more than anything, there is connection. It's completely free and it's growing, and it was built to feel like a soft place to land. If your heart has been craving that kind of space, you can join us at thedoulalife.ca/community. I'd love to see you inside. On today's episode of The Rainbow Connection, I'm sitting down with Katie Lister, someone who I know so many of you know very well because she is kind of an OG in the Doula Life community. We have her come in there and lead us through so many of her beautiful offerings pretty often, actually. She is a breathwork and yoga nidra facilitator, a fellow lost mom, and someone whose story is deeply rooted in both heartbreak and in healing too. Katie shares about her first pregnancy ending in a miscarriage and the long layered journey that followed as she navigated grief, trying to conceive again, and eventually welcoming both of her rainbow babies. Now, this conversation is about what it means to come back into your body after loss, to rebuild that trust, to move through that fear, and to find those moments of safety again. It's about motherhood after loss in its truest form. It's not perfect. It's definitely not linear either, but it is deeply, deeply real. I'm so honored to hold this space with her. She is truly such a gem, and I know if you haven't met her yet, you're going to love her, and I'm just so honored to be able to share her story with you today. Okay, now enough from me. Let's hear from Katie. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Rainbow Connection. Today, I'm joined with Katie. Hi, Katie. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
She is going to share all about her motherhood journey and what brought her here today. I have had the pleasure of getting to know Katie over the last few months. We were connected online. She is a beautiful breathwork facilitator, and she's done some work inside the Haven and inside of Mother Like No Other. So some of our listeners might know you already. But today, Katie is on the other side of the seat, and she's going to share a little bit more about her story. So, Katie, before we do jump into your story, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction of who you are and what brought you to this podcast today?
Yeah. Okay. Well, my name is Katie. I have 2 beautiful rainbow babies, and a fur baby. And I am a breathwork and yoga nidra coach. And I really specialize in helping women through loss or fertility or postpartum or just, messy motherhood.
As it is.
As it is, yeah. Because that's been my journey. And so that's my passion.
Katie's coming from lived experience for sure. And that always makes, the coach so much better when they have that personal history with it, right? Yeah. Well, Katie, we would love to hear more about that motherhood journey. We'd love to hear more about those two beautiful rainbow babies. So wherever you feel comfortable starting, we would love to hold that space for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. And just thank you for giving me the space to chat about it. So yeah, the motherhood journey was not easy. And it started, we're going back about 8 years. And my husband and I, we weren't married at the time, but we were already like so bonded and we knew we wanted kids together and a whole bunch. We're like, let's have 3-4 kids, it'll be awesome. And it did not really turn out that way. We did get pregnant actually quite easily, and I miscarried my very first pregnancy. And obviously, like my very first experience with pregnancy, like I was so excited, and your first pregnancy test, and you see those little lines and you're like, yes, thank God, like I'm going to be a mom. This is so exciting. All the rush of feelings and excitement. And then 2 weeks later, like I miscarried and I was so heartbroken, but my logical brain kicked in and I was like, I know 1 in 4 women miscarry. Like this is just really bad luck for me. So we tried again, got pregnant again. And this was pregnancy with my son, who's now almost 7. And I spent the pregnancy just full of anxiety, because of that first loss. And then he was born. And of course, like the first words that came out of my mouth were like, is he okay? Like, I wasn't like, oh, yay. I was like, is he okay? Like, tell me he's okay. Like white knuckling. And of course, he's totally fine and healthy and perfect and amazing. But after that, I found like my mindset just went in the toilet. I was in a deep depression. I was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety and depression.
Okay.
And I just felt like I completely lost myself. And I was having these really terrifying, intrusive thoughts. Like, I didn't want anybody to hold him because I thought they would hurt him. I didn't want anyone to touch him. I thought he would, fall down the stairs, or my mom would take him for walks, and we used to live by the water. And I just had these images of her like tripping and falling, and then the stroller would go off into the water. Or even silly things like I would be in the shower and I would start imagining him at 15 years old, and he, in my head, I would play out the whole situation. Like he would die of a drug overdose, and I was in there like writing his eulogy and just bawling in the shower. And my husband would be like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh my God, like what is wrong with me? Like this is not normal. And of course, like I didn't know what was happening to me. Like at the time I hadn't been diagnosed. It took over a year for me to be diagnosed with postpartum anxiety. And so I was just powering through, and I thought I was strong enough to handle it. I didn't want meds. I refused all meds. And I was just like, no, I got this.
What was your partner kind of thinking at this point? Was this like a really recognizable thing that he was witnessing, or was he kind of, she's postpartum, some of this is normal, or what was that like?
I think he was confused. I thought maybe he told me later that he thought this was just all part of postpartum. And, obviously he was there for me and always check in with me and, offer any support. But he didn't really understand what was going on with me either. I didn't understand what was going on with me. And so much of it I just kept inside.
Well, I was going to say, intrusive thoughts usually stay internal intrusive thoughts, right? Because some of them are so
horrible.
Like, I don't like saying crazy, but they're like so.
Yes. Oh, I felt crazy.
Not yourself that you're like, I can't say this out loud. Like,
yeah,
you're definitely not alone in those thoughts either.
No, and I know that now, but at the time, I had no idea. I was like, is this motherhood? Like, is this what it's supposed to be like? Like, this is horrible. And then, of course, we're like, let's try for another baby because that's what you do when you're stressed and anxious and everything. But we always wanted lots of kids, and we were, I wasn't a young mom. I had my first at 35. So we were like, let's get on this. Let's have another. So then we tried again, and I got pregnant, and I miscarried again. So I was like, wow, that's really bad luck. Like, that's 2 miscarriages now. And then we tried again, and I miscarried again. And that was like a couple of months later. And so at this point, I was like, okay, something is wrong. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. What's wrong with me? And we went to a fertility clinic.
At this point, because it was your 3rd loss, were your doctors also thinking like, hey, like maybe we should do some investigations?
So it was my 3rd loss, but not 3rd in a row. So they told me, don't worry, I had a good doctor though. My doctor was like, well, you're only allowed to be referred to a clinic, a fertility clinic, if you've had 3 losses in a row. And he's like, but like, I'm going to just send you anyway. So I was like, thank you. Cause like that would be awful if you had to go
the stupid rule, right?
Right. Exactly. Like, you had to go through another loss in order to be taken into a fertility clinic.
Well, and then what if you did, bring home a baby and then you went through 2 more? Like, it's just such ridiculous rationale. Yeah.
Yes. So then we did all the testing, and they were like, oh, everything looks fine. Like, you look fine. Your AMH is actually really great for your age. Like, we don't know what's wrong with you. So I was like, okay. Like, I almost wanted something to be wrong, because then I could at least know, like, have some closure, know what it is, and go and fix it if it was fixable. But just to be like, oh, well, we don't know what's wrong. Like, carry on and try again. It was like, like, it just felt like Russian roulette. So after that, we took a long break, like, I think over a year. And then and of course, like, through all of this, my anxiety and depression just got worse and worse, right? With each loss, I just started feeling like I look back now and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I wasn't even myself. It all feels like a blur. Like, I don't think I saw my friends for years, except for like special occasions. And I was like a different person.
Yeah. Just were not yourself.
No, it's like this haze, this dark cloud over me at all times. And then finally I felt like, okay, I'm ready to try again. We were 38 and we're like, let's do this. We had nothing, no answers from the fertility clinic, but we're like, we're just going to try anyway. And got pregnant, and everything kept progressing. And I was like, okay, usually I had miscarried around like 7 or 8 weeks, but this time, we passed 7, 8, and I was like, okay, still pregnant. Past 9, 10, I was like, okay, interesting. Still pregnant. Or so I thought. And then we got to my 12-week scan. And, obviously I was a bundle of anxiety and nerves, but I was also hopeful because I thought I hadn't miscarried. There had been no signs. There had been no signs of miscarriage. So I was hopeful. And I went in there, and of course it was like an older male tech, and there's nothing wrong with older male techs, but in that moment, I needed a woman, preferably a mother. But he looked at the scan and he's like, oh. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I just knew. I just knew that I had miscarried, but it had been missed.
Mm-hmm.
And so he couldn't tell me anything, obviously, because they can't tell you anything, but I just knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying so hard to keep it together. And
At this point, did you know what a miscarriage was?
No, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I could just tell
that something
was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent me to the hospital, where they did like another scan and blood tests and etc. And they told me that I had the baby was not there anymore, passed at some point along the journey. And so then I had to go and take the abortion pill and prepare to miscarry at home. And that was like probably the worst 2 days of my life. And just going through all of that and like the pain and the blood and my son, my son was 3 and I just remember he was like, Mom, like, why are you so sad? Why are you in the bathroom all the time? And like, it was just heartbreaking because I felt like such a failure. Like I had let him down. I knew he wanted a sibling. I had let my partner down. I let myself down. I let the baby down. I still don't know what happened when I had lost this baby. I had no idea or why. I had no answers.
That can be so hard because like you said, sometimes when you just know what's going on, you can do something different. And just doing something different in itself can be so comforting.
Exactly. To have some sort of reasoning behind all of these losses.
Now, did your care providers, when you did find out that this baby had passed, did they give you any sort of support in what to expect in the upcoming days taking, miscarrying at home?
Yeah. So the nurse I saw who gave me the medication, she was really great. And she gave me, she told me what to expect. And my maternity doctor did as well, because she had been with me since the beginning. So she knew my history. So I did feel really supported in that way, which was nice. But nothing can prepare you for going through something like that. And after that, I just, I was almost furious. Like what is wrong? Something is obviously wrong. Like it's not normal. Like I know 1 in 4, but the math ain't math.
Right.
And so we went to another fertility clinic because we really wanted another baby. And I'm like, look, this is the history. This is how many losses we've had. We've already done the testing, 2 years ago. And this is what they said. And so they're like, okay, let's do it again. Let's do your AMH and all the, progesterone and all the tests and my husband as well. And they came back and they're like, yeah, I don't know. Like everything looks fine. And I'm like, well, clearly I'm not doing the right tests. Like something is wrong. So anyway, we left there feeling just like, how could this possibly be? How could there possibly be nothing wrong? The only thing that she gave me was like, well, at your age, like 60% of your eggs are no good. Her words, no good.
I'd really like to see the, study that you're referring to where it tells me that definitively, right?
Yeah. And also like, what a horrible thing to say to somebody.
Yeah. Like it's just complete bullshit. Like,
well, not only is it complete bullshit, but like a lot of those losses happened, when I was 36 and also at 34. So yeah. Anyway, I was just like,
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. I was just like, how are you in a position of power talking to like very vulnerable women going through this? But anyway, I digress. So after that, I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to try again. Like it's too painful. It's too much. Obviously I'm too old. Like that's it. We're going to have one baby, pour all our love into him, and that'll be that. And so that was sort of the path we had chosen. And I was trying really hard to accept that we were only going to have one baby. I'm an only child. I always wanted a big family. So for me, that was a hard pill to swallow, to just have one. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having one. I had a great childhood just being the only one. I got all my parents' love and attention, and it was beautiful. I had the best childhood. But I personally wanted more kids. So having to make that decision, like, okay, it's just going to be one, it just felt like it just hurt. But I had made the decision. It's like, okay, we're one and done. We got this. Let's move on. And then around Christmas time, my husband and I were talking, and we're like, remember back in the day when we were kids, and like those big family dinners and Christmases where all your cousins would be there, and the big family dinners, and you'd have like your kids' table where you would sit with your siblings and cousins. And it was just like such a big, fun.
It's just the best.
It's the best.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's like not going to be the case for our son. Like, cause I don't have siblings. So he doesn't have cousins from my side. And my husband has one sister, but she doesn't have any children. It was always just him alone with all the adults. And I'm like, oh, like, poor guy.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what came over me, but I was just like, you know what? Like, I know there's one more baby. Like, I know there's one more baby for us. I just know it. Like, there's this little voice, something here. And like, I'm here. Like, I'm here. I want to come through. So I was like, okay, let's give it our very last shot. And we were 39. And I was like, honestly, I didn't have expectations. I was like, it's probably not going to happen. Let's just go for it.
Why not? Right?
Why not? And I wasn't expecting to get pregnant at all, to be honest, but I did actually very quickly. And I mean, when you've experienced so many losses, when you find out you're pregnant again, it's just like, you hold your breath. You're like, oh God, like,
yeah, brace for impact, right?
Yeah. Just imagining all the things that could go wrong because they have in the past. Like, so I was just like, okay, what do I do? So I signed myself up for weekly acupuncture. And I knew I had to get a hold of my anxiety. I was a nervous wreck. I didn't want to acknowledge her, but at the same time, I was like, I was so desperate to hold on to her. Like, I would have done anything, like literally anything, you name it, I would have done it to keep her. And so I'm like, okay, I need to calm the fuck down.
Yes.
So I read all the benefits of like breathwork and meditation and all of that. So I was like, okay, I'll try anything. I will try anything. So I carved out a little time for myself, 10 to 15 minutes a day, every day. I put it in my calendar and I'm like, I'm going to light a candle. I'm going to play some soft music and I'm just going to focus on my breath. And that is what I did. And it was really hard at first because my body I just didn't feel like a safe place. My body didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe. My brain was like this chaotic, jumbled mess of thoughts.
It can be really challenging to slow down, right? And to like be with your thoughts and be in your body. Well, you're like, well, if my thoughts and my body have been so dangerous, like why the heck would I want to be there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like my mind, my thoughts, it was not a safe space and it hadn't been for a very, very long time. And I just didn't trust myself. So I literally forced myself to do this. And I didn't like follow a technique, or it wasn't even a guided practice. I literally just sat there and I just breathed. And I just focused on the breath coming in and out of my nose. And I focused on the rise and fall of my belly. And that is literally all I did. And I found that I was actually able to calm myself down. I went from like a here to here. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So I did it every single day, every day. And after a while, I found that my brain was no longer this like chaotic, jumbled mess of crazy thoughts that didn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to like think more clearly and be more logical and open my heart more. And like I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I was just activating my parasympathetic nervous system, right? Because I was no longer living in this state of like constant fight or flight and vigilance. And I was moving into a space of where I could actually like release and breathe and actually just be, which was a very new feeling for me. I hadn't felt like that in years. So, yeah, it was a great practice, and I just kept coming back to it. And yeah, like I said, at first I didn't want to do it at all. And after a few weeks, it was like the thing that I needed to do. I was like, I need to go do my breathwork practice like right now, or I'm going to lose it. I'm getting warm. Can I take this off?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right, let me just gather my thoughts back up.
So you stopped at saying I needed to do my breathwork practice.
Right. Yes. So the thing that I didn't want to do for so long was finally the thing that was like saving me and that felt like my sanctuary. And so then it just became like my daily non-negotiable. And through this process, I finally felt like my walls could come down and I could connect with her. Because I spent that whole time, the first 5 months of my pregnancy, completely disconnected, not only just her, but from myself, from my body, which is a normal response, right? After you've been through so much loss.
Totally. But at the same time, we don't usually want that response, right? Because it's like that push and pull of like, I know my body is doing this as a form of protection, but I don't really want to be protected from her. Like I want to be able to connect to my baby, right? It's like
Exactly.
both.
Yes, both, which is such a weird place to be. I was also having weekly scans. So I was referred to a specialist in town, and they were like, we can set up weekly ultrasounds for you. And I know some women probably think that that would make them more anxious. But for me, I was like, yes, I want this weekly scan. I need to know.
I felt the same too.
Yeah. Like I need to know. I have to know. So I had that. And then I had my practice, my daily practice, and my weekly acupuncture, and obviously my partner support. And then between all of those things, I just finally felt like just really like I had this weight lifted off me. Not completely, but a big part of it. And I felt lighter, and I felt like I could finally connect with her. And so once I could connect with her, then I felt like I could start, okay, well, we hadn't done anything we hadn't bought anything for her. We hadn't thought of a name. Like my husband brought it up and I was like, no. But
too
now,
scary.
Yeah, too scary. Everything felt too scary. I didn't buy a single thing until probably I was about 6 months pregnant, and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy something. And it was a dress. It was like the sweetest little white summer dress. And I'm like, okay. And then at 7 months, I'm like, I think I can maybe talk about names, like little bit by little bit. And I ended up having the end of my pregnancy. It was actually really nice, better than my first. I felt good. I felt excited. And even though there was still that little part of me that was a bit scared, I just could think more clearly. That's the best way I can describe it. I just felt like all my jumbled, anxious, wild thoughts from before were more compartmentalized, and I could think them through clearer. And I just felt more calm and present and willing to let her in and willing to open my heart, even if it meant that it would be broken again.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day came and she was born. And like, honestly, it was the best day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And the sun, it was November, but the sun was shining and we were joking around with the nurses, and the vibe was just, it was light and chill, even though obviously I was in pain because I was having contractions, but, it was just such a great day. And then she was there, and I honestly couldn't believe that she was there. Like, I was like, are you really? Are you here? Like, is that you?
Mm-hmm.
And she was born just a couple weeks before I turned 40. And so it was like the best birthday present in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And after she was born, I don't think I put her down for months. I just I carried her around with me and just stared at her, like constantly she was there with me. Like she was attached to me.
Was your postpartum like vastly different with her versus, your son?
Oh my God, like night and day. With him, I was a disaster, like a shell of myself. And with her, I felt a lot more confident. And like I was able to let some joy in and be happy. And because of that, I feel like I actually remember more of my postpartum with her. Whereas with him, it's all such a blur.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me so sad because I would do anything to go back and remember him that little and remember those days. But obviously, like I blanked that out for a reason, right? Like those were not happy days for me.
Mm-hmm. Like super, super hard days, but days like that you would still want to remember, right? Because they're your baby's days.
Yeah. Those are his days. And he was my rainbow baby too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that was now a little over 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. So she turned two in November. Yeah.
What has like life kind of looked like since then? Because obviously now you are a breathwork coach.
Yeah.
So obviously breathwork has been very like defining for you, right? Like it has really been life-changing for you. So tell me more about what kind of life looked after she was here. And
yeah. So I feel so silly being like, oh, breathwork changed my life, because it seems like such a simple thing, but it really did. And so after she was born, I did my very first sympathetic breathwork practice. So that's like the faster breathing, which can be really powerful and really healing. And I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't sure if I was going to tell the story, but I'm just going to tell the story.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So this was a guided practice, thanks to MJ. And it was like, the idea was that you go up into the higher realms and you don't know who you're going to meet, but you meet whoever's open to receiving you, and you get to ask them some questions. So now I am not like, I do not believe in God. I have a very practical, logical mindset. And what happened in this practice completely blew me away. And I left, honestly, like completely changed. I went up into the higher realms, and I had no expectations of who I was going to see, or if I'd even see anybody. But when I got there, I saw 4 little kids, all the babies that I had miscarried at the ages that they would have been in that moment in time. And I just I bawled, but it was happy. I got to be with them and play with them and just be together. And then all of a sudden, my grandmothers who have passed, and my great grandmothers, and even one of my aunts who has passed, they all sort of appeared around us in a circle. And they were like, Katie, you don't need to worry about them anymore. we've got them. You're okay. You can move on. And obviously, like, that is exactly what I needed to hear. But I couldn't have got there without that practice. And after I had that, I mean, it was just, I left that practice being like, oh, what just happened to me? Like, that was amazing. And I was just crying and crying, but they were happy tears, you know? They were just like, I just felt like I got so much closure from that.
While we take a quick break, I want to introduce you to The Haven, my signature support program for mothers who are pregnant again after miscarriage, TFMR, stillbirth, or infant loss. This is not just a course. The Haven is a trauma-informed community program that includes weekly live workshops, expert guest speakers, and ongoing support from me, an experienced doula and fellow loss mom, anytime you need it. You'll also receive one-on-one check-ins, guided journaling prompts, full access to my birth course, Reclaim, and a warm, intimate community of other PAL mothers, a place where you can be real, be held, and be reminded that you are not alone in this. Enrollment inside The Haven is now open, and support is available to walk with you throughout your entire pregnancy, from the moment you see those 2 pink lines all the way until your baby is tucked safely into your arms. If you've been longing for a place to feel safe, feel seen, and be supported throughout your pregnancy, then The Haven was made for you. You can learn more at thedoulalife.ca/haven. Inside The Haven, your baby is remembered, your voice is honored, and you are fully supported every step of the way. Now, at what point did you I know that you were practicing your breath work when you were pregnant. Did you do your certification, or what kind of called you to even think of maybe I'll try breathwork? I know that loss, does crazy things to people. We start opening our minds up to things that we probably never would have considered before. We're like, if this would help, let's do it. When you said I would do anything to get her here, I totally was nodding my head, because we would stand on our heads, whatever it is that's asked of us, we would do it, right? So what drew you to breathwork? When did you start knowing that you might have something here? You might become a teacher here. Tell me about that process, and then we'll get back to the transformative breathwork. Yeah. Let's start there.
So it was when I was, right after I had her, I had reflected back on my daily breathwork practice. And this was just a very calm, parasympathetic, pregnancy safe, slow breathwork.
What made you want to do that? What made you think to oh, I'm pregnant, maybe I should do some breath work?
It was just because my anxiety was so high. I was constantly, I felt like I was vibrating constantly, and I couldn't think straight. And I had, read all the things about meditation and breath work being, just mindfulness in general being good for you and helps you shift into a parasympathetic state. And I was like, well, I'm just going to try it, because I will do anything to keep this baby.
I need that parasympathetic state. Say less.
Yeah. And because I was so up here, just vibrating on this other level. And so I don't know if that's the reason why I kept my pregnancy. I have no idea. We never got any answers. But if that was the reason, I'm forever grateful to that practice and to myself for forcing myself to get quiet and go within and just be with my thoughts and be with my breath. And so after I had my daughter and I was on maternity leave for a year, I was like, well, I have a year. I'm going to go get certified.
Yeah, why not?
I love this practice. It's totally, it opened me up. And at first I was like, I just want to do it for my own knowledge. But then I did that really transformative practice. I think it was only maybe a month into the course at that point. And I was like, okay, no, I'm going to do this as a thing. I want to start this business and help other women who are going through similar or same experiences, because that one breath work was so life-changing. It had lifted this weight of grief that I had been carrying around for so long. And not just grief, but my mindset around something is wrong with me. I'm broken. And so all of that, it just allowed me to think in a different way and allowed me to heal myself, which was really empowering. And because nobody else can heal you. Like,
and it's hard to know like what to even do, right? Like what is going to be that missing piece that brings me a little bit closer to healing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the doctors were giving me nothing. So I had to go out and figure it out.
Unfortunately, that often happens is like we don't get answers, right? But in our bodies and in our minds and in our intuition, we know that like there's something here. There's something that I could be doing. And I think it's like so wise that you felt the need to get quiet because the first thing that we usually don't want to do is be quiet and be with ourselves, right? Instead, you were brave enough to go in, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And it was hard. Like I said, it was really hard to do that and to just be alone with my, at the time, very horrible thoughts about myself and about my body, things that I did not want to think, but I needed to think those thoughts. I needed to work my way through them and parse them out and make sense of them in order to move past them and move through them. So that's what the practice did.
Yeah, I love that. So now, obviously, it's had a profound impact on your life, on your journey, on your career. So now what does that look like for you? How are you utilizing that and, sharing your gifts and this like healing power that you discovered with other women?
Yeah. So after I got certified, I wanted to make a membership for people, for women specifically, whether they are trying to conceive, whether they are going through pregnancy after loss or postpartum or any of that. And I head down furiously wrote like several breathwork practices, and they were exactly what I wanted to hear when I was going through all of these different things. And I mean, I cried writing these practices and it was so healing for me too, to write them down. But yeah, I wrote the practices, I recorded and put them to music and edited them and created this whole membership around breathwork practices. And in the portal, there's it's split up into 3 sections, but there's the motherhood path is one section. And in there, those are all those really like heart-led practices about trying to conceive, pregnancy after loss, going through loss. There's a womb clearing one in there as well. And then there's the Breathwork for Life section. So those are a mix of sympathetic and parasympathetic, but there's a lot of nervous system regulation practices and also some things like shedding limiting beliefs. And then in the 3rd section, which is new, is Yoga Nidra. So I also became Yoga Nidra certified, and that is essentially conscious sleep. And your body goes to sleep while your mind stays awake. And you would basically peel back the layers of self until you get to your true self, your soul, your center, whatever you want to call it. And there you plant your seed of intention. So it's just another powerful practice that I love just as much as breathwork. And so now this membership is out there for women who are struggling, either trying to conceive or going through loss. And it's basically, the whole thing is like a love letter to my former selves, depending on where I was in that process. So I feel like I just alchemized all that pain and heartache into something creative and beautiful that can help other women.
I love that. I mean, that Yoga Nidra, I feel like I need that right now. That sounds amazing.
We all do. 45 minutes of Yoga Nidra is equal to 3 hours of sleep.
Oh my God, I definitely do need that. Lord knows. I haven't slept in like 5 years. So
I feel that.
that sounds lovely. And we're going to definitely have to do that. Actually, we do have Katie coming in to teach Yoga Nidra in our Mother Like No Other group, I think in April, right? So
I can't wait.
I'm not sure if I can wait till April though, Katie. I might need to get you to come sooner, but it sounds lovely. And I'm always so amazed when I see women just, like you said, alchemizing their pain into something that is so life-giving and healing and so honoring of the journey and of the babies that, sadly aren't in our arms. I know that they're watching and they're pointing and saying like, that's my mom. She's changing the world, right? It's true though. It's true. I think it's like one of the most powerful ways to really like honor our babies is to allow their little lives to change us, right? And to step into whatever it is that they have shown us or exposed us or taught us, and just like let that be a part of who we are now. And you definitely are a living embodiment of that, right? Of your journey and of your babies. And I think it's just so beautiful. Now, I'm wondering how, breathwork shows up in your life now, because there's always like that, do as I say, not as I do. I know that sometimes I come on here and I'm guilty of that as well, where I'm like, hey, this is what, da 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 da. And then you're like, still struggling in the trenches. But I'd be curious to know how, how does breathwork show up in your life now that you have two kids? I would love to hear about that. Yeah. So differently. Yes. Because I've got two kids, one who's turning 7 in a couple weeks, and my daughter who's 2, and, toddlers and a dog. My life is busy and full, and I don't have the time and space to be like, okay, I'm going to set an hour aside for myself and lay out a blanket and light candles and set the mood and do this amazing breathwork journey. No. I have got like 5 minutes. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to swing. That's real, right? That's real. Or also, I like to, this is my like eye of the storm, or what I like to call it, when life feels so overstimulating as a mom. Like I've got kids screaming and they're running all over the house. There's toys everywhere. My dog is burning. Yeah. Dinner's burning. Like, the drill. Like it's chaos. And so I do this little eye of the storm where I literally I close my eyes and I imagine a storm like swirling and whirling around my body, but I am still and sturdy like a mountain. And I just slow my breath. It's literally just me slowing down my breath so that I activate that parasympathetic response, so that instead of being super reactive and, snapping and yelling, which I don't want to do, and I can react from a more grounded place. I love that. So thank you. And it's keeping me sane, honestly. But that's what my breathwork looks like now. And I mean, one day when I have more time, I'll go back to doing those like longer guided journeys. And sometimes I do, like if, after bedtime, the kids are gone to bed and I'm not totally exhausted, then I'll take maybe 20 or 30 minutes to do a breathwork journey. But that's real life though, right? And like we have different stages for different parts of our life, just like exercise. Like sometimes we have enough time to work out for an hour 3 times a week. And sometimes all we can do is like 15-minute walk. And I think once you start like recognizing the benefits, it's going to ebb and flow with your life, right? Katie did teach me this one breathwork practice, and maybe you can guide us through it before we close off. It's like so simple, and I wish I had it when my daughter was born and I was in the thick of postpartum, because I 1000%, a few things. First off, I was a very deeply grieving mother. I was very out of my body, disassociated. I really was like, when you say you were in a daze, like that's what I was. I was like just in this thick fog where I couldn't attach to myself. And for good reason, like attaching to myself was a scary thing. And then when I was in postpartum, I was the overstimulated mom. Like I had postpartum rage. I was just like not myself. But Katie taught us this like practice, the humming bee one.
Oh, the humming. Yeah. I thought you were going to say something else, but yeah.
Oh, the humming bee. But I honestly, I started practicing that because I feel like I could do it anywhere. And usually it was like when my baby was screaming in the back seat and I was driving and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really hard. And maybe you could guide us through that because I feel like, I'm going to say it, I feel like it changed my life because now I do it all the time. Whenever that stress or disassociation comes up, whenever I know I'm not in my truest self, it takes 5 minutes and I can do it anywhere and it's free. And it's like a little therapist in my back pocket. So I would love if you could share that with us.
Sure. So humming, when I first started doing it, I know I felt kind of silly. I'm like, I'm humming, like I'm one of those people. But the reason why it works so well is because humming activates your vagus nerve, which is your direct pathway to your parasympathetic nervous system. And it almost instantly calms you down. And it's really easy to do. So if you are listening, just, maybe close your eyes. You can take a deep breath in through the nose and then hum it out. Then you can go again, in breath through the nose and hum it out. And while you're doing this, you can play around with the tone of the hum. You can make it higher or lower, louder or quieter. You can even place your hands on your ears like this. And when you do that, you can feel the hum more internally, which draws you into your body even more.
I love that. I do it so much now that Senna knows that. So Senna's my daughter. Senna notices when I do it because she's probably it's in the middle of her yelling at me about something. But now, when I notice that she is even getting heightened, she's also getting into a stress response. I'll hold her hands and I'll be like, take a deep breath and just go. It's really adorable, but our little ones are watching, right? And the only reason she probably knows how to do that now is because she watches me. But I know before I said it's a 5-minute practice, but literally it takes 30 seconds. Yeah. So I take that back. Sometimes I do it when I'm driving. I know that if I am going into a really heavy appointment or a really nerve-wracking appointment or a podcast interview, it could be just such an amazing way for me to come back to myself. And if some of the people listening who are like, well, what is parasympathetic? Because I know some of us are like, what does that even mean? So there's sympathetic where you're in flight or fight, fawn or freeze. And parasympathetic is when you're in your rest and digest. So it's your calmest state, right? Is that a good way to explain it?
Yes. And there's nothing inherently wrong with being in a sympathetic state. We're actually supposed to move easily between both states. But when you have trauma and you're living too much in a sympathetic state, then that's where things can be not so great for your health. So trying to bring it back over to the parasympathetic side as often as you can to help sort of balance it out.
Especially if you're, pregnant after loss right now too, or trying to conceive after loss, because those are two different times where we really want to return to a parasympathetic state or a state of safety, right? And of calmness. So such an easy tool, so simple, so powerful. Yeah, it changed my life. So I'm really glad I get to share it with our listeners today. See, Katie? These are your babies showing up. This is your story showing up. And now it's multiplying and going to change even more people, right? That are listening to this and that are in their struggles or in their lost journey. So I just want to thank you so much for, sharing this part of your story, for sharing your gifts and for giving us all, a little bit more hope and a little bit more validation by listening to you today.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you for giving me the time and space to talk about my story and to talk about those little souls that I lost. And it's all part of the healing process. So thank you.
You're an amazing mama.
Oh, so are you.
If this episode resonated with you, would you mind sharing it with another mother who might need to hear it? Sometimes the smallest act, like sending an episode to a friend or sharing it in your stories, can remind someone they're not alone in their grief or their hope. If you do share, please tag at the Rainbow Connection podcast so we can continue to spread these stories together. Thank you again for tuning in today. And remember, you are never alone. I'll see you in the next episode.